I didn't find out the way people expect. There was no lipstick on a collar, no late-night confession, no dramatic phone call. It happened quietly, the same way most real betrayals do, hidden inside normal days that look harmless from the outside. My wife and I had been married for 11 years. Not perfect years, but real ones. We dealt with work, bills, and routines every day. I never believed marriage was supposed to feel like a movie, with constant excitement and grand gestures. I believed in showing up, being steady, and keeping promises. Even when life got dull, I thought that was love, or at least the grown-up version of it. We had built a life together, a simple home with a kitchen where we shared meals, a living room where we watched TV after long days, and a bedroom that once felt warm and safe. But somewhere along the way, things started to change. It began subtly. She stopped reaching for me. At first, I told myself it was stress from her job. She worked long hours at the office, dealing with deadlines and difficult bosses. I figured she was just tired. Then, I told myself it was temporary, a phase we'd get through like we always did. But when weeks turned into months, I had to tell myself that patience was a virtue. I didn't want to push her away by demanding more. Instead, I tried to make things better. I cooked more often, preparing her favorite meals like pasta with homemade sauce or grilled chicken with vegetables. I listened more when she talked about her day, nodding and asking questions even when I was exhausted from my own work as a mechanic. I tried not to complain about the little things, like the dishes piling up or the laundry left unfolded. I became quieter, not because I had nothing to say, but because I didn't want to make things worse. I thought if I gave her space, she'd come back to me. Our evenings became predictable. We'd eat dinner in silence, her scrolling through her phone while I watched the news. Bedtime was the hardest. She'd turn away, facing the wall, and I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, wondering what I was doing wrong. I missed the way she used to laugh at my bad jokes or rest her head on my shoulder during movies. But I kept going, day after day, believing that real love meant sticking it out through the rough patches. The night I found out, I wasn't looking for anything. We were at home, just like any other evening. She was in the shower, the water running steadily in the background. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen table where she'd left it charging. I glanced over out of habit. I saw a name I didn't recognize pop up on the screen. It wasn't a friend or family member, I knew all those. I didn't open the message. I didn't need to. The preview was enough. It showed familiar words, the kind filled with casual intimacy. A shared joke, a reference to something personal, the sort of easy warmth that doesn't belong to strangers. It hit me like a quiet wave, not a crash, but enough to pull me under. I sat there longer than I should have, staring at the screen as it dimmed. Something in me settled instead of exploding. No shaking hands, no sudden rage, just clarity. It was like the last piece of a puzzle slid into place, and suddenly everything made sense. The distance between us, the indifference in her eyes when she looked at me, the way she spoke to me like I was part of the furniture, reliable but unremarkable. All those months of her pulling away weren't about stress or tiredness. They were about someone else filling the space I used to occupy. When she came out of the shower, towel wrapped around her hair, I didn't ask questions. I didn't accuse her. I just looked at her, really looked, and realized I already had my answers. Whatever explanation she might offer wouldn't change what I felt in that moment. Respect doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes slowly, like water wearing down a stone, until there's nothing left but smooth, empty surface. And once it's gone, words don't bring it back. They just echo in the void. I packed a bag that same night. Only what I needed, some clothes, my important documents, a few toiletries. Nothing sentimental, no photos, no keepsakes from our trips or anniversaries. She watched me from the doorway, her face a mix of surprise and confusion. She asked where I was going. I told her I needed space. She said we should talk, that we could work things out. I said there was nothing left to say. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't tell her she had ruined my life or that I hated her. I simply walked out the door like someone closing a chapter he had already finished reading. The cool night air hit my face as I got into my car, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a strange sense of calm. Silence wasn't punishment. It was self-respect. For weeks, I heard nothing from her. No apologies, no explanations, just the absence of someone who had already left long before I did. I found a small apartment across town, a one-bedroom place with plain walls and a view of a quiet street. I furnished it simply, a bed, a table, a couch from a second-hand store. I went to work every day, fixing cars and chatting with coworkers like nothing had changed. At night, I slept better than I had in years. Not because I was happy, exactly, but because I wasn't lying to myself anymore. I wasn't pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. I started small routines for myself, morning coffee alone, evening walks to clear my head, reading books I'd put off for too long. Life felt lighter without the weight of unspoken questions. Then one evening, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone, no friends dropping by, no delivery scheduled. I opened it and saw a man standing there, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. He looked uncomfortable in his own skin, trying to stand tall and look confident, but his eyes gave him away. He introduced himself by his first name, extending a hand that I didn't shake. I didn't offer mine in return. He cleared his throat and told me he was seeing my wife. He said it like he expected a reaction, maybe anger, maybe fear, maybe even a punch. But I felt neither. I just stood there, arms crossed, listening. He went on, saying he wanted to clear the air. He didn't want any problems, he explained. He thought I should know that she had chosen him. As if this was news to me. As if he was delivering some kind of verdict instead of revealing his own misunderstanding of the situation. I looked at him and saw exactly what he was, a man standing in something he didn't build, trying to convince himself it was solid ground. He wasn't a villain in my eyes, just another person caught up in the mess. I didn't insult him. I didn't threaten him with violence or call him names. I told him the truth, plain and simple. I told him she was free to make her own choices, just as I was. I told him I had already made mine, and that chapter was closed. And then, calmly, I told him that if he ever came to my door again, it wouldn't be for conversation. There was confusion in his eyes, like he couldn't quite process my response. Maybe he expected competition, a fight for her attention. Maybe he expected me to beg or rage or try to win her back. But I had already let go of that. He muttered something awkward and left shortly after, carrying the weight of a role he didn't fully understand. That night, as I sat alone in my quiet apartment, I realized something important. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was the moment I stopped participating in disrespect. Betrayal doesn't always demand a dramatic response, yelling matches or tearful confrontations. Sometimes the strongest move is refusing to engage at all. I didn't win her back. I didn't try. I didn't need closure from someone who couldn't offer honesty in the first place. The silence that followed wasn't empty or lonely. It was peaceful, a space I could fill with my own life. And for the first time in a long time, it belonged entirely to me. Please subscribe my channel.